is just a big old hug.
It's Brittany, bitch.
Hello everyone, this is Brittany. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to be reading Beth O'Leary. As you all know, I have really been trying to read a lot of romance in 2021 because it is definitely the genre that I have shirked the most. I used to love reading romance when I was younger, and then I just completely transformed into like sci-fi and dystopian and fantasies after reading things like The Hunger Games, Divergent. I also really love Twilight, even though that's a paranormal romance. Okay, I really veered to things that were not just like typical contemporary romances. Like I really didn't read those at all for like 10 years. So I'm trying to get back into the scene because I know they're really popular on BookTube, and most people that I watch tend to read romance. So they're definitely a bad influence on me. I'm pretty hard pressed to find people who don't read romance and read primarily other kinds of books. If you know any people who read primarily sci-fi fantasy, please let me know, because I'm definitely looking to expand my realm, because most of the people I see read thrillers or romances, which are things that I used to love to read and then just kind of fell away. So I'm going back into it this year. So I decided to try Beth O'Leary for the first time. She has a third book that's coming out this year. I think it's coming out in a month or two, and it's called The Road Trip. And I don't know, it just like looked interesting, so I kind of wanted to read her other two books beforehand, just see if I even like her style, or I like her writing, or I like her stories. And since she's a romance writer, I just felt like that was a perfect opportunity into a segue. So first I got The Flat Share, and this is her first novel, and basically we have Tiffy and Leon, and they are basically sharing a flat, right? So during the day he has it, and at night she has it. She like had a bad breakup but had to move in really quickly and found an ad for a flat share. So apparently they fall in love through notes. A lot of people have commented about this. A lot of people have talked about this. I really am just looking forward to a cute little romance, and I haven't really heard too many bad things about it, but I think it's also one of those polarizing things where you're just gonna like the style or you're not gonna like it. I love Beth O'Leary's pastel aesthetic that she has going for all of her books right now, and I don't know, I just want to try them out. So The Flat Share will be the second book that I read for this because it is due later to the library, okay? Don't judge me. Her second published novel is The Switch, and this follows a grandmother and a granddaughter. Again, pastel aesthetic. I mean, hello. So there we have Lena, and then we have Eileen, who is this precious grandma, and they switch lives. It's like the holiday, and that's kind of what I'm expecting from this. I'm expecting some the holiday vibes, because that movie is fire. Between a grandmother and a granddaughter. So Lena, she lives in London, and she basically has a breakdown at her job, and they are like, you're gonna take 2 months of paid leave, okay? So she goes up to the small little country town that her grandma lives in, and they switch lives, and her grandma, wanting to date and find a larger dating pool, goes to London and lives in her flat with her roommates. So I don't know, I'm really expecting good things out of this. I'm only a couple chapters in, and it's not really pulling me in yet, but I can tell that's a good writing, and I think definitely a lot of people will like it, but especially for me, especially when I come off of like a high concept like sci-fi book, which I've just read like 4 of, I have a really hard time jumping into like a slower paced, character driven contemporary romance. I mean, to be quite frank. So it's not really pulling me in yet, but I have to have it due in like 3 days, so I really have to get going on this. I'm gonna try to update you for each book at least around the halfway mark, if not more. Especially like sometimes in contemporary romances, like not a lot can kind of happen, even in like 100 pages, but these aren't super long. This one's like 328 pages, and the Flat Share is basically around the same. And you know what I thought was really cute, by the way? So I read right here on her first book, she said, the idea for the Flat Share came to Beth when her doctor boyfriend was working long night shifts as part of his training, and they could go weeks without seeing each other. But she could track his life by how many cups of coffee were left on the counter, by how much he'd eaten, and whether the bookmark in his novel had changed locations. It made her wonder, what could you learn about someone if you lived together but your lives never overlapped? I don't know, I thought that was a really cool idea. So I have high hopes for these. I hope I like them. I know a lot of people really enjoy her novels, and they've read both of them, so I'm hoping I could like join the bandwagon a little bit. I'm really trying hard with romance this year. You're probably gonna see more romance blogs than anything, because I'm trying so hard to get back into this and to like it, but like I haven't really rated many of them super highly. I think I've given out 1 5-star this year for The Unhoneymooners, so that book was fantastic though. I'm also worried because it's a weekend, and I don't tend to read a lot on the weekends. I've already been trying to force myself to read The Switch. I've really been trying. Forcing myself. I also don't have a whole lot of editing to this weekend because I did a lot of it during the week because I'm just that bitch. but I have high hopes for it. I'm really just gonna try because I also hate returning things to the library without finishing them, and I don't want to have to renew it. I'd much rather just return it after the time it needs to be returned. Wish me luck. Quick little update. Today is Sunday. We did all of our grocery shopping. We went to Costco, got a bunch of fruit. I'm gonna cut it up in a minute. I'll probably record that for you. We got ourselves some cantaloupe, grapes, mango, and strawberries. We're trying to eat a lot healthier this week. We're really just like trying to eat healthier in general. Gotta get that glowing skin, gotta feel really good. Try and do some more walks now that the weather's getting really nice and it's not 30 degrees anymore. So this week's the week. And then tonight we're gonna do our favorite Thai place because that is just like our new Sunday meal ever since we found the place. And we're doing our Thai money bags, our yellow curry honey, and my favorite mango and sticky rice, which is mainly just my dish because he like eats 2 bites of it and it's basically mine. But it helps cut through all of the spiciness because even though we keep ordering mild, it's not mild here. Everything in New Mexico is fucking spicy. I've not had one meal labeled spicy that has not been like through the roof spicy. Even when we say mild or like no spice, mouth burning, honey, mouth burning. So the mango sticky rice really helps cut through that. If you eat a couple bites after some curry, oh God, it helps a lot. So I want to give you a quick update on this, by the way. I'm about halfway in and so far I'm really enjoying it. This book is just a big old hug. I think that's why a lot of people like her writing. It's very homey and comforting, even though we're talking about difficult topics. Like a trigger warning for this book is definitely the death of a loved one. It doesn't happen in this book, but it's definitely alluded to a lot, and there's fights about it, a lot of family issues about it. So just as a warning, that's definitely in there. But so far, I think it's really sweet. I just don't know if I'm really in the mood for this book, but it's definitely been an easy read. I've been forcing myself to read it as quickly as I can just because I have to return it. I don't know, I'm liking it so far. It's really sweet. I don't really know if I'm like overly attached to it, but I think it's definitely a good book that I'd recommend. Not too much has happened. There's been like no real like romantic things. It's not very romantic to me. Like there's not a whole lot of romance. I don't know. I was expecting something like steamier, but I think this is more like one of those like comforting, wholesome books where like the sex is alluded to. Like the grandma found someone she's having fun with, but like they just refer to it as like lovemaking or whatever. So it's not anything super like steamy, which I was kind of expecting. I don't know. I was kind of hoping for like a little bit, but it's very tame, like 12-year-old tame, 10-year-old tame. So we're probably gonna have our lovely evening and I'll probably update you tomorrow. I hope I can finish it by tomorrow because it's due to the library tomorrow. We'll see about that. But the flash share, by the way, I do have on audio if I want to read that, but I feel like if I mix the books up, they're gonna I feel like if I listen to the flash share while I'm trying to read the Switch in person, it's gonna mix me up because I feel like they're, not like they're similar like concepts, but I think especially reading like the same kind of books can like really mix me up. So I'm just going to wait till I finish this one to pick up the flash share. So I just returned the Switch to the library and I picked up my Dutch Bros. It is the Vampire Slayer, which is green tea, strawberry, and pomegranate. And on the cup, I don't know if you can read on top, but they wrote, "You are amazing." I'm not sure if just because I talk to them all the time or what, but that's a nice little customer service gift right there. So I finished the Switch and I'm not sure I'm gonna rate it yet. I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I'm not gonna lie, like at the end, especially like the last 50 pages or so, really wrapped up in a nice way, and I really felt for the characters. But otherwise it's a real slow burn. You don't get anything pretty much until the end. But I think overall it was really wholesome and sweet. and I don't know I'm gonna rate it yet. I feel like maybe it's like just a good 4-star. I think if you're in the mood for like a slow burn chick lit where you can like vouch for a granny, this is like the perfect book for you. I'm just not really in the mood for this at the moment, but it was great for what it is. I can totally understand why so many people rate this 4 and 5 stars. Like, it's a really great book. It's really well written. I don't have any complaints about the writing other than obviously a couple of things are a little bit predictable, but that's kind of also to be expected. It's kind of a little more formulaic, but like, I don't know, it just felt like a really nice story, and I actually teared up a bunch. This definitely is a trigger warning for people who have people have passed, because it's definitely a very large point of contention in this book, and I teared up a lot actually. Like, I didn't full on cry, but like there was definitely a couple moments where I was like, keep it together, you're on your lunch break, like don't you go crying back to work. But there were definitely a few points where it really hit me with some emotions, and I think it was written really well. I don't even know what else to say past that. I think it's also because it's of its genre, it's hard to kind of like let you know what's going on without like just spoiling the whole book, because the whole plot is just kind of like slow and meandering, and they're figuring out themselves, and they're figuring out how best to like live their lives and grow as people. And there's definitely a lot of growth in this book, and that's something I also really enjoyed. So I think it's a good wholesome 4 stars. I don't know, I definitely would recommend it, by the way. I would 110% recommend it. I'm not always in the mood for these kind of books, and they're the kind of books that I used to love to read. I just don't know if they're my jam anymore. I like a little more drama, I guess. I like things a little more intense and hard-hitting, but at the same time, it was like this would be like a great vacation book or like a plane book, because it's not going to give you anxiety or any panic or worry. It's just a good, solid, feel-good, heartwarming book. Those are usually not my thing, but like if you're really looking for that, this does it. It's fuzzy, it's heartwarming, it's charming. Definitely would recommend. And now it's on to the flat share. So I hope I like the flat share as much. A lot of people I see seem to like the Switch more. I don't know though. We're gonna find out. I hope I like it. I do like her writing style, but again, I'm still not really in the mood for these kind of books, so I'm not promising anything. Okay, so I'm gonna start the flash share tonight. I am gonna be grabbing dinner soon because it's Friday. I'm not sure when I last updated you on the Switch, but obviously I know that I'm not expecting this to be steamy. Unfortunately, like I was really kind of hoping for some steam last time, but I liked the feeling it gave me. It was a good contemporary. It was very chick litty, which is something I used to read a lot of, was books mostly like that. It was very like Nicholas Sparks-esque, but like without his tropes. So I really enjoyed the Switch. I think I gave it 4 stars. I can't remember, but I'm having big expectations for this. And even if I have to return this to the library, which is in like 3 days, I have it on audio just because I wanted to get it on audio just in case to see if it would help me read this. But I don't know if the audio is in, I almost said it in British. When people have British accents, I have a really hard time listening to audiobooks sometimes. Like I just cannot listen to that and learn and read. I don't know. Some of them are okay, and other ones, I just can't do it. So I'm not saying I have high expectations for this, but I know a lot of people, I feel like this one's a little more polarizing. I'm hoping I enjoy this. I don't know. I'm hoping it'll be a quick read. I just want to get it over with in the nicest of ways. It's not my usual genre, so especially with romance, like this is what I used to read. I used to read like barely any sex, like barely talked about, fade to black, but I feel like her style is like really tame. So I don't know, something I definitely like miss. Like maybe this will be better because it's like about just them instead of like a grandmother and a granddaughter like exploring their lives. I'm hoping there's some sex in this. Like just give me anything. Okay, so I'm off to go grocery shopping. I'm gonna get a coffee first because I really need something to take some ibuprofen because I have a terrible headache. I think I just slept wrong. It kind of hurt when I was sleeping, but good Lord, it's really bad. It's pretty bad. I'm like struggling. Like I got ready and stuff, but I feel like I'd much rather be laying around. I brought the flat share with me because I know sometimes it takes a long time in the Dutch Bros line, so hope I can get a little bit of reading done. I feel like it's a little bit faster paced in the Switch. So I haven't really started. I'm only like 40 pages in, I think. I'm like 40 something. So yeah, I'm like 37 pages in. Haven't really gotten into it so far. Certainly more fast paced, but Leon's pages, like his chapters, he's like a palliative night nurse, which is like really cool, but his like thought process is really choppy. I think it's probably because he's tired and that's how she writes him. And it's really kind of hard to follow. And also I just have like bordering migraine, so I think that's also part of my problem. So I'm gonna get coffee and then I'm gonna go to Trader Joe's. I have a lot of stuff on my list for next week because we're trying to be eating a lot healthier, so there's just a lot of like different little like fruits and veggies we have to get. So very long list, and I hope I don't forget anything. So yesterday I had a terrible migraine and I was unable to do pretty much anything else. I went shopping, I thought I was fine, I ate lunch, tried to get through it, ended up having to sit in the shower for an hour, and then I didn't really do anything else for the rest of the day. Like honestly, didn't really do much. It was just kind of a wash day, if you know what I mean, and I didn't really read too much, but today I read a little bit more. I felt better today. I feel fine. I think it was just one of those times you just sleep wrong on your neck. Like I knew I slept really wrong on my left shoulder and it just like would not go away. Like sometimes you just have to like sleep on it again in the good way and just try to relax and take a hot shower, and that's what I had to do. I had a headache literally the entire day. Like I took medicine 3 different times and I still had it. It was just one of those ones that just would not go away. But I did get up to almost page 200 in this. I have to return it tomorrow to the library. Or I guess I could renew it, but I don't know if it's going to be able to be renewed. Like that's kind of like the risk you take. I do have an audiobook, but since I haven't listened to the audiobook at all yet, I just feel like that would be weird. They didn't actually get to me until like page like 140 in this, so that was kind of cool. It's definitely a bit of a slow burn because it's over months and months before they actually like even get to meet each other, and they've really like gotten to know each other through these notes. I think it was really cool. I really like the concept of this. And I like them together as a couple. I'm not like rooting for them or anything. I just like am enjoying it so far. I really like our main female lead, Tiffy. She's like 6 foot and she works as a like in the publishing industry with like DIY books and crocheting and like funny stuff like that. I thought it was really kind of neat, and I like her as a character. She seems pretty cool. Her decor taste in apartment sounds terrible, but it's almost like kind of funny because she has like terrible like granny tastes in some things, and I can appreciate that. It gives her some character. So I'm hoping to finish it by tomorrow. I don't know if it's actually gonna happen. I'm shooting for it. I only have like 120 pages to go, which really isn't that much, but I have not been reading this weekend like at all. Especially yesterday, I didn't feel good. I just watched the new season of the Housewives of Beverly Hills. Sorry, not sorry. I've been waiting for that season forever. I'm a huge Lisa Rinna stan. I'm just obsessed with her. She's probably my favorite housewife. She really stirs up that shit, but she really owns it, and I can really appreciate that. And I don't know, I feel like I would get along really well with Lisa. I love her. And I've also been playing my Sims all weekend. I kind of get in the mood every now and then to play my Sims, and I finally kind of got back into that mood, which is great because it's been like a month. Because usually I end up editing, and I edit ahead of time, and I edit thumbnails, and I really like try to do things ahead of time, which is great like for me, like in planning wise in case I get busy. But it's nice to just like kind of relax and just play with the Sims and try to enjoy the game a little bit, even though it's kind of boring sometimes, but I really like building in the Sims, so gotta find the things you like. I also asked my dad to find my Sims 2 stuff because I've really been wanting to play the Sims 2 again, but I also need to get a CD-ROM thing because I don't have one on my laptop. Yeah. So I'm gonna update you tomorrow about this. It better be finished by then. Hello, I know, I look like trash, so sorry. But I just wanted to update you on the flat share. I am really struggling to get through it. Past like the 140 page mark, like they kind of like met after that, and I think ever since they've met, like I've just kind of struggled with the story. I don't really know why. I've been struggling. I thought I was due today's, actually due tomorrow. So I have till tomorrow, but I'm also like pissed because I'm like 2 days behind my schedule. Technically almost 3 days behind what I would originally have liked the schedule to be. I'm so sorry for that fucking barking dog. It's literally all day. But anyway, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm like, I really liked it at first, and now I'm not really digging it, and I just don't know why that happens to me sometimes in books, is when people get together, I just don't care anymore. I'm kind of that same way with movies. I like the beginning of a lot of movies, but I don't always like the middle and the end, depending. I don't know. I like the other plot lines, but at the same time, our 2 main characters, I like kind of, I don't know. They're kind of like dull and interchangeable. I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely liking this a little bit less than the Switch. I really liked it at first, but now I'm just, I don't know. I feel like the Switch was the opposite. The Switch took me a minute to get into, and then I really kind of liked it towards the end, and it was really heartwarming, and I enjoyed it. But this one started off really strong, and I liked it, even though Leon's chapters are really difficult to read, because it's almost like conscious, it's almost like an unconscious thought, and it's just like, you know, when you just like write out what you're thinking and you just don't stop. That's kind of what his chapters feel like. And I get that. I like that he has a different perspective, because I think so many books have chapters of different perspectives that they sound exactly the same. But I wish that she would have done it a different way. It feels like she didn't like commit to like the style of Leon's, and I just don't even like know the rules. Like, it's kind of just weird. I don't know. I'm not a fan. Maybe if I like listen to it, I'd like his better, but reading his, don't like so much. Anyway, it's after work. It is like now after 5. Of course, always doing that OT. I'm actually gonna go take a shower. I'm not gross or anything, but I do take like 4 walks a day. And since we did all of our walks earlier in the day, I'm going to take a shower now and wash my hair, because I'm really liking it curly, and I like it curly sometimes. It's like fun and ridiculous and wild. But the problem is when I wash my hair at night, I have to blow dry it. And when I blow dry it, it obviously ruins curls. It gets blow dried straight. And then if it gets blow dried curly, the curls get really weird. But I feel like if I take a shower during the day and let my hair air dry, the curls will stay a lot better over the course of the 3 days till I wash it again. So I'm gonna wash it now, and then I already prepped dinner, so all my brother has to do is pop it in the oven in 30 minutes, and I should be out of the shower by then anyway. So that's the plan for tonight. I better finish the flat share tonight. I'm just not really feeling very motivated on it, to be quite honest. Like, I'm just not motivated whatsoever to read it at the moment. I just kind of like don't care. It's true, you can't make me want to read a book, and I feel like I really like the beginning of this, and I really flew through it. And I'm on page 250 now, and I know it's only like 320 pages, but I'm struggling. Like, I want to finish it so bad, but like, I just don't care. And it probably is like probably a good book. I think it's still at least a good 3, but like, it doesn't mean like I enjoyed every second of it. Okay, it's 10:30 at night, and I just finished the flat share, and I really don't think I liked it. I feel like I really liked like the first half of this. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the first half was like, okay, I was getting into it. It was pretty fast paced because the first half, Leon and Tiffy hadn't met yet, and we're like learning about them through these notes. And I liked how fast paced the notes were. It was really easy to read. But then like the minute like they met each other, like the magic of the book stopped, and it was like on hold. I'm honestly kind of like leaning towards like a 2-star for this. Like, I kind of like didn't enjoy it. I really had to force myself to read the last half. The last half, which was like 160 pages, literally took me like 3 extra days. Like, I just feel like that's a little bit ridiculous. I know that I am not reading after work lately because I have been working too much overtime to do that, but for a book of this size, it still shouldn't have taken me that long. Like, I've had to force myself to read this every single time I've read it in the last like 3 days. I just feel like the characters are like pretty dull, especially like Leon is like a love interest. He's just like so dead inside that there's nothing there. Like, I understand he's like reserved and he's like little anxious tics, and he's a palliative night care nurse. That's like all we know about him. Like, he's no other personality traits. There's nothing else there. He just seems like the most passive, boring, indecisive dude. Like, there's nothing really there for me. I feel like this is one of those books where the supporting characters for me were 1,000% better than the main characters. I really liked Tiffy at first, but I feel like especially with her representation with her abusive ex-boyfriend, she was just like so frustrating, and I just don't like the way she handled things. Like, I understand there's like a PTSD element to things, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I just feel like the way she handled things were not the way that I would have liked them handled. And I loved the supporting characters in this. Like, I loved her friend Gertie, who's like this badass busy lawyer. Love her. I mean, I think we always just are drawn to certain characters, but the fact that I was not drawn to either of the main characters is just a little bit frustrating. And after like the halfway mark, it got so fucking cheesy. Like, I honestly almost put this book down at like page 260 because something happens. Like, they're at an event and it gets interrupted, and it just felt like we were at a really bad 80s rom-com movie, and it just made me so mad. Like, I don't like the way things are even wrapped up. Like, it just was not wrapped up in a way that I would have liked. I just feel like this is a 2-star for me. It's like such a shame because I feel like the switch definitely grew on me more. Like, you know, I think I at least attached myself to the characters, like sweet Grandma Eileen. She was just so cute. I could really take it or leave it, this book. I don't even know if I'd recommend it. That sounds really fucked up, but I don't know, it kind of bored me. Maybe if you really like those books that have no steam in them, because there was one actual sex scene we got to like witness, and again it just like fades to black, which is like fine, but I don't know, I just never felt the chemistry between these characters either. Like, I never felt any chemistry between them literally like ever, unless it was in the middle of their notes. And then I just never got any of their personality. Like, I got a little bit of her personality, but with him it was just like, I understand he's supposed to be reserved, but you gotta give us something, dude. Just something. So like, will I read her other book, The Road Trip? Sure, I have high hopes it might be good if I really liked The Switch. I liked The Switch, I thought it was good, and I definitely would try something again, because hopefully since the flat, I always want to call it the flat mate, I don't know why. Since the flat share was her first book and The Switch was her second book and I liked The Switch, maybe she's on the way up for me. So I would probably give her new book a try. But I mean, it's not the first thing on my list. But then again, I do kind of like just easy romances, but this is definitely not steamy at all. And I don't need that in books all the time, but sometimes when especially now when I see romance recommendations, I expect like a smidge of steam. Like, I don't need explicitly disgusting sex scenes. I want to like know what's going on. Like, describe it a little bit and then you can fade to black. Just give me something. Like, I need to build up the chemistry. A 10-year-old could read this. All right, well, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this reading experiment. Please let me know if there's any authors that you would like me to read. I'm very open to pretty much anybody. I'm trying to expand my horizons. Pretty much like anything but like classics, I'm pretty much willing to read at this time. Or nonfiction, just because nonfiction kind of can make me a little slumpy, because I really like to focus on it and read it intently and learn instead of just enjoying a story. So let me know if you have any suggestions. In the meantime, like, subscribe, join the tribe. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.